Hey everyone, and welcome to Beaming Notes. And today we're going to take a look at the summary of the poem Macavity the Mystery Cat by Stearns Elliot. Summary Stanza 1. Macavity's a mystery cat. He's called the Hidden Paw, for he's the master criminal who can defy the law. He's the bafflement of Scotland Yard, the flying squad's despair. For when they reach the scene of crime, Macavity's not there. Stearns Elliot describes a mysterious cat of extremely villainous characterization in his poem, Macavity the Mystery Cat. This cat is known by the name Hidden Paw, as he is the criminal mastermind who disregards law. He is an enigmatic figure to even the specialized detective agencies of the world like the Scotland Yard and the Flying Squad. These agencies had accepted their defeat by this clever cat, and therefore he is considered as the bafflement of the Scotland Yard. For when they reach the scene of crime, Macavity is not there. Macavity is too clever to be caught, and he is nowhere near at the crime spot. Summary Stanza 2. Macavity, Macavity, there's no one like Macavity. He's broken every human law, he breaks the law of gravity. His powers of levitation would make a fakir stare. And when you reach the scene of crime, Macavity's not there. You may seek him in the basement, you may look up in the air, but I tell you once and once again, Macavity's not there. The poet says that Macavity disobeys all human laws and also the law of gravity. His levitation is so powerful that it causes a fakir to stare bewildered. But when the crime spot is reached, Macavity is not there. The poet says that we may search him in the basement or we may look up in the air, but Macavity is not there. Summary Stanza 3. Macavity is a ginger cat. He's very tall and thin. You would know him if you saw him, for his eyes are sunken in. His brow is deeply lined with thought, his head is highly domed. His coat is dusty from neglect, his whiskers are uncombed. He sways his head from side to side with movement like a snake, and when you think he's half asleep, he's always wide awake. TS Elliot describes Macavity as a ginger cat who is both tall and thin. He can be recognized from his eyes. Which are deeply sunken in. This cat has lines on his forehead steeped with thoughts. He has a head that is highly domed, while his coat is untidy and his whiskers uncombed. Macavity moves like a snake, and whenever he is mistaken to be asleep, he is wide awake. Summary Stanza 4. Macavity, Macavity, there's no one like Macavity. For he's a fiend in feline shape, a monster of depravity. You may meet him in a by-street, you may see him in the square, but when a crime's discovered, then Macavity's not there. The poet says there is no one like Macavity. He's the devil in disguise of a cat. He's a monster of wickedness. One may meet him in a by-street or in the square, but when the crime is discovered, Macavity is not there. Summary Stanza 5. He's outwardly respectable. They say he cheats at cards, and his footprints are not found in any file of Scotland Yards. And when the larder's looted, or the jewel case is rifled, or when the milk is missing, or another pig's been stifled, or the greenhouse glass is broken, and the trellis past repair, there's the wonder of the thing, Macavity's not there. Macavity's footprints are never to be found in any file of the Scotland Yards. Here the poet mentions some of his crimes. He says that Macavity is the one behind looting the larder or the jewel case. He's also behind the breaking of the greenhouse glass and the trellis. Also, when the milk goes missing or peaks being smothered, it is Macavity to be blamed. The most surprising factor that connects them is that when the offense is discovered, Macavity is not there. Summary, stanza 6. And when the Foreign Office find a treaty gone astray, or the Admiralty lose some plans and drawings by the way, there may be a scrap of paper in the hall or on the stair, but it's useless to investigate. Macavity is not there. And when the loss has been disclosed, the Secret Service say, it must have been Macavity, but he's a mile away. You'll be sure to find him resting or a licking of his thumbs, or engaged in doing complicated long division sums. When the Foreign Office's treaty is not found, or the Admiralty loses some plans and drawing, it is useless to investigate, as they all know that the mastermind behind this act is undoubtedly Macavity's. But Macavity's a mile away from the scene of crime. He's neither relaxing or licking his thumb, or has occupied himself in solving complicated long division sums. Summary, stanza 6. Macavity, Macavity, there's no one like Macavity. There never was a cat of such deceitfulness and suavity. He always has an alibi and one or two to spare. At whatever time the deed took place, Macavity wasn't there. And they say all the cats whose wicked deeds are widely known. I might mention Mungojery, I might mention Griddlebone, are nothing more than agents for the cat who all the time just controls their operations, the Napoleon of crime. The final stanza of the poem states that there has never been a cat of such deceitfulness and tactfulness. Macavity is always ready with an alibi or two, and when the crimes are discovered, Macavity is not there. TS Elliot talks about other wicked cats, namely Mungojery and Griddlebone, who are nothing but agents of Macavity, the Napoleon of crime. Poetic Devices. Elliot uses many literary techniques to make the poem appear humorous to the readers. Instead of using a human as the main character, he uses a cat and attributes human qualities to it. The list of literary devices used in the poem is analyzed below. Simile. A simile is a figure of speech in which two dissimilar objects are compared, and the comparison is made clear by the use of the terms like, such as, and so on. He sways his head from side to side with movements like a snake, is a fine example of simile in this poem. Personification. Attributing human qualities to some inanimate object is known as personification. They say he cheats at cards is an example of personification. Like a human, the poet suggests that Macavity plays cards and cheats at them. The reader knows that a cat cannot play cards, but it can break any human law and get away with it. The use of anthropomorphism makes the poem seem unrealistic but humorous. The repetition. The lines "Macavity is not there" has been repeated a number of times in the poem to emphasize on the fact that the cat is too clever to be caught. Macavity, Macavity, there's no one like Macavity is another line which is repeated in the poem to highlight the fact that there is only one criminal mastermind, and that is Macavity alone. The rhyme scheme of the poem Macavity the Mystery Cat is AABB. It is a lyrical poem.